everyone, welcome to my IG live sessions. I usually do these on a Sunday, but today we're doing them on a Monday because Maipelo is here and we had a couple difficulties yesterday, but we said we would make it worth your while today, so that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to wait a bit for some of you to join us and then we will start. But otherwise, how are you, Maipelo? Are you good? How was your day? How's everything going? Are you excited for the IG Live?
I'm good. The day was busy, but I'm glad that we're now doing this.
Right. It's been well overdue. Some have asked, who's the voice behind Creative Connect? And when are we going to meet her? Because I do these IG Lives with people. So finally she's here! I brought her with, so I'm excited to be doing this IG Live with her to ask her all the questions you guys have asked me to ask her, and to get her vision behind not just Creative Connect, but all the other things that she's doing. Hi, Summer, you are our first viewer. Thank you for joining us today. We're just going to wait for a couple more people, maybe one or two, and then we will begin. But, like I said, this is, what's the word? A redo. Another attempt at yesterday's IG Live.
There we go.
Yeah. I think we should just start and then people will come as we...
Yeah.
Hi, Samir. Thanks for waving at us. All right, cool. So let's get straight into it. You have a strong academic background, specifically in the arts. So there's choreography, there's movement research. I mean, the African child is not usually drawn to pursue their craft at an academic level. So I'm interested in knowing how you got to doing that. Why the decision to take it even as far as a master's? I'm interested in knowing.
Well, I started with artistic activity when I was quite young, so it's something that has always been within my life. But in terms of academia, I think it's a natural thing now where parents expect you to go to university. So I thought, well, I might as well go and do something that I enjoy.
Right.
But I had initially went there to pursue acting and make it a main focus of my drama major. Movement was part of the compulsory courses that we had to do. And I like to say that I kind of just fell into dance because I realized that I really liked it and I was actually quite good at it. So in my third year, I decided to go with what I enjoyed and what I was good at. And I think around my apprenticeship year with the first physical theatre company, that's literally the first physical theatre company in South Africa, first ever. Yeah. I was approached by the then artistic director, and she had advised me that I do my master's, so I did.
Wow, that's so deep for someone to say you should pursue it even at that level. Quick question, do you think dance is a talent or a skill?
I think it's a little bit of both.
Okay.
So it's definite. It helps if you have, a little bit of talent, and you grow up on that, you build up on that, but anyone, honestly, in my schooling, we were always taught that anyone can move. So it starts with moving, and then you can start venturing into different dancing techniques.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. So speaking of dance and basically the opportunities that have been open to you as a dancer and as a performer, I mean, you've spoken and I've put up on Instagram how you had started artistic activity since grade 3 and you've just been in like the whole creative thing since you were pretty young. But I'm interested in knowing, just in terms of exposure and being able to be put out on the stage and being in these environments where you're performing for people and there's an actual audience, what are some of the lessons you've learned from live performance that you can share with us?
Well, I'm not quite sure if it pertains strictly to being on stage performing at that point, but I think just all of my experiences, I think the first lesson would be that you can always learn from people around you. So there's always something to pick up on, and you should really be open and aware to what those messages may be. They might be subtle, they might be quite explicit, but you have two kinds of people, I believe. People that are an inspiration, that are easy to take in and absorb, and people that are cautionary tales. So you learn from both and you try not to be the latter as well. Right. And I think the second lesson would be, in whatever you do, remember to always make sure that what you're doing is feeding into your ultimate goals. So you don't want to get lost in creating someone else's dream, you know?
Sure.
So I don't mean like don't collaborate or be selfish, but be very strategic about how your decisions and how your collaborations are feeding into your ultimate vision. And I think the last one would be always remember to build and give back to where you're from.
Right.
Yeah.
Speaking on that, I mean, you have beautifully spoken about collaborations. And I mean, even on Creative Connect, we've discussed the importance of goal setting in a way that's beneficial to your environment, your community, your country. And even just moving on from that, I would like to understand making that big transition. I know I have personally, but I'm not quite sure where I can pinpoint to where exactly it started from. But do you have like a definitive moment when you made that transition from being a performer on stage, a part of a big production, or being a part of something in which someone is starring, or someone is just being a part of something, to then becoming more concerned with doing or aligning your goals in a way that is like into like holistic development for the community and doing things for people? When did you make that shift to be more like people conscious and country conscious?
Okay. Okay, that's but okay, let me just then start with the base of what artistic research is. So it's a very basic understanding because it's still fairly new. So artistic research is basically using the process and product of various art or creative forms as a way to generate knowledge and open up scope in what research is, in what the process of research is, and how it applies in academia, but also other institutions. So that's like a very, very base definition of it. So that's how I entered performance and the theater space. So research in all its forms has always fed into what I have done.
Okay.
And yeah, I don't know, like I don't think there has been a distinct difference, or at least a distinct transition, between the performer and
what is the word?
Performer and the researcher.
The researcher.
Yeah, the performer and the researcher. So as for the transition from dancer to researcher, like I said, I don't think there was a distinction between the two. I may choose to emphasize one more than the other given the particular context.
Okay.
But they will always feed off of each other and the base of like critical thought. So how I generate my work. In my line of my trajectory, it's always been about how the society feeds into your work. And I think it's just the general disposition of art, how you reflect your community and your context, but also how you project what you want it to be.
Yeah, so it's a natural thing for all of us, so to speak.
It should be.
It should be. But I mean, even you can say, like, summing up everything you just said, can you say that creative research kind of opened? I'm sure you were already open-minded before, though. But I mean, can you say that it made you more aware of artistic activity outside of you, in terms of research? So you would look at the work of other people and
definitely,
so it definitely helped you.
Yeah, and how you use other forms or other disciplines to feed into what you're doing, and using that in a way that I guess you get to meet new people and learn new things, and also apply it in a very specific way that also feeds into your style. So you know how us performers and dancers like to talk about style. Yeah. So making it fit to your personal kind of way of expressing the form. Cool. So now on your vision, I mean, I know you're based in Sweden at the moment, but you're in Botswana now and you're doing a bunch of things. But first I want to hear from you, just in brief, because I know you can get pretty comprehensive about this one. But what are your aspirations for the Botswana creative climate at the moment? Oh, okay. So just in brief, I really want for artists and creatives in Botswana to not only be able to make a living off of their skills and talent, but also to thrive outside of their immediate borders. So your immediate border might be Gaborone or it might be Francistown. So to also connect all of the cities and then also connect the country with the rest of the world, you know? And I want us to be recognized and sought after by other people around the world.
Right.
For this to happen, we need to make major shifts internally on an individual, community, and industry level, so that we can accommodate and support the brilliance that we have here.
Right. So it's creating those structures that are able to govern the talent and export it.
Exactly.
So, I mean, I've been able to see your amazing CV. And in it, you speak about elevating. You've spoken about thriving just now, but you speak specifically about elevating visibility and leadership of African women.
Yes.
Do you want to elaborate on that?
Well, I will briefly say. So, we live in a world where unfair and at times harmful practices against women are seen as normal or part of traditional culture. And as a Black African woman, I experience the world in a very particular way. And wherever I've gone, I've received some kind of like pushback or discrimination based on the particularities of my identity. So I realized I think it was definitely in my academic career. So most especially in my postgraduate, that it's quite hard for an individual to cope and try to tackle the systems and ideologies and institutions by yourself. So I've tried, and it's very, very hard. So it made sense that I integrate and also emphasize on other women that look like me. So, you know, and other Black African women and other women of color. So we can just come together and help support and push each other to places where we might not have been able to do just by ourselves.
Cool. So you took into consideration elements of representation, and you understood the importance of a collective impact where it's all of us all at once going for the one thing. All right, got it. So even on that note, I mean, I know that you've lived in South Africa for a bit and you're based in Sweden now. You've been all over. That's enough exposure as compared to what some of us have been through. And so, I mean, based off that, what are some of the observations that you've had in terms of the local and international creative scene?
Well, I've done a variation of living, studying, and working in mainly South Africa, Belgium, and Sweden. So there have been other countries that I've been to, but not long enough to, you know, to make them and to talk about them in depth. But I think the main distinction that I would highlight first is the dedicated systems and structures in place that are there to support artists and facilitate their growth. Right. So I'm talking about specialized education and vocational training centers and schools, a range of facilities that are formed to house, protect, and also get the work out there. Right. Like things like museums and, you know, theaters, national theaters, something that we are yet to get to yet. We'll get there.
We're getting there.
We're getting there. And things like also the legal policies and regulations that formally and protect and safeguard artists and the things that they do and the way that they live, you know. So I would say that would be the main observation. And I think the biggest one that encompasses a lot of things that affect how artists operate and survive. So in Botswana, we're working towards that. So it's nice to know that there are now schools that have started popping up. If it's not a whole school, it's courses. Like places in high schools are also trying to really integrate drama at grassroots levels and culture and theater. So it's nice to see that it's being normalized.
Cool, it's being normalized. I think that's definitely at a time like this. I know a lot of us as creatives in Botswana are self-taught, and we would have wanted to have specialized knowledge and have, you know, proper understanding, especially in the context of Botswana, like how to navigate this specific industry. We would have wanted like access to facilities like that. So I'm very grateful that you had pointed that out and how we've developed over time to finally like incorporate some of those things into the academic system. Hopefully we'll do more on that scale as time goes on.
But I have to say it's also never too late to learn what you need to learn. So university isn't for everyone. and you don't necessarily need it. But you can take courses here or there. Like, that's why vocational schools are really great to have, because you can take short courses, or you can take like a semester, whatever it is. But
right, yeah, just anything that's tailor-made for your growth. Yeah. Cool. All right, cool. So, I mean, you've spoken about collaborations, or really just the way communities outside, creative communities specifically outside, are very close-knit. I want to talk a bit about cultural exchange, because I know it's something that you have a profound appreciation for. What do you think are the benefits of Botswana kind of taking collaboration seriously? What will that do for us? Because I think it's something a lot of us overlook. We think that it's just an ethical thing, or it's just the right thing to do. It's the cute thing to do, to collaborate. We never really understand why it's so important. So, I mean, from your take and given your exposure, what can you say the benefits, or what do you think it could potentially do for us as Botswana if we took collaboration seriously?
I think, first of all, we need to know the old age proverb that says 2 heads are better than one.
Right.
So 2 heads tackling one thing will yield more, I guess, growth out of it. Mm-hmm. So, how do I say this? Yes. Theatre and performance is not something that you can do by yourself.
Okay.
At least not all the way, because you do need people that can support you with other technical things that you might not know or have access to. Even solo artists need those people around them to help them. So, it's just within the practice itself, it requires you to work with other people. So, I mean, if we could band together and really work together, it would really elevate the quality, and firstly the quality of the work, but also the scope and the availability and accessibility of the work beyond where you think you could have gone. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cool. So I just want to read a comment from Jono. He says, y'all are spitting wisdom. Shout out to you, bro. And he's saying that's important, having structures and spaces that accommodate us, which I'm so glad he's able to appreciate. It's very important for us to have those structures in place, and we're getting to a point where we're able to do that, hopefully. Yeah. But even on that point on structures, or even about things that accommodate us, I know something you're passionate about is arts admin, and basically all the management and all the admin work behind creatives or artists in Botswana. Yes. So, I mean, tell us about that. In regards to that, why should Botswana take, creatives specifically, why should they take that seriously? What could happen if they don't? What happens if an artist just, I know I've written about it in my journal, what could happen if we just focus on the talent part and we just focus on bettering ourselves and we don't focus on the other parts of development. So why is that holistic development important from an admin standpoint, from a management standpoint? Okay.
So basically arts management acts as the bridge between the artist and its audience and the stakeholders, whoever you need to help you put your vision forward as an artist, and the people who you want to actually see your work. So arts administration and management is a professional field concerned with business operations and processes around the arts organization or the person doing the arts. So as a performer, you might be very, very focused on your art and rounding that out in a very particular way and making sure that it comes out the way you want it. And that takes a lot of time, a lot of effort.
True.
But in order for you to get pushed out there, you also have the administrative things that you need to do realistically. And these are usually attached to standardized business practices. So around the world, you are received in a very particular kind of way. There are particular standards and legalities that we must adhere to. And I think we're all aware of what they may be when we see things outside of our context. You have your managers, you have your lawyers, all of this stuff. They deal with very specific things that can not only protect you, but help propel you as well. So you can't ignore those administrative things that you might not necessarily be able to do yourself, or you're not interested. And that's fine if you're not interested, but you can't ignore that they still need to be done. Because if we don't do them and you find yourself in a position where you are able to access opportunities outside, we can just get super basic here. So you have been invited to go to another country. Do you know how to deal with your visa application? Do you know how to book your tickets? When you're receiving the funding, does it come to your individual account as well? You know, things like this that are very basic but very necessary, and you need to think about, like when
budget breakdown as well.
Budget,
do you get paid?
Exactly, your
how
proposal, your taxes, because that's a real thing, especially if you're starting to earn more and more money. And then on top of that, how do you protect your work and your intellectual property?
Right.
So all of these other things that your arts administrator and manager would be able to highlight and assist you with. Yeah.
Right, so that's definitely important. I hope everyone was listening on that. Jonah says, I don't like admin things.
I've heard a lot of artists say that.
Oh my word, I hate admin. Let me tell you, I hate it so much, Maipelo. That's why we need you though, because I can't.
I mean, I personally enjoy it. I'm not gonna lie, I really do enjoy it, but I feel as if I was put in a space where I could learn it, and I was nurtured on how to learn it and how to go about it. You know, in university, you need to be writing your own proposals, you're putting on shows, you need to be your own budget person, your own stage manager sometimes, you're doing all of these things, but it's in a very structured environment where you can learn and you have a safeguard. So I've been able to do that at a pace that I was comfortable with and build up on those skills. But I can understand people who have not had the opportunity to do that go, I'm not interested, I don't like it, because you haven't been given the opportunity to learn and like it. Yeah.
And gain the tools to carry it out. I think that's true. I think for me, I kind of had to learn bits and pieces, because like you're saying, if you want to grow, if you want to be taken a certain way, if you want to be perceived a certain way, you can't run away from admin. So I hope Jonah's listening on that. You have to do it, bro.
You have to
but I mean, at some point, I like managing though. I mean, I enjoy managing myself. I'm self-managed, and I enjoy kind of just like doing that. I get input from my manager as well, who's my brother. So that's always good to kind of be hands-on and be in control of other things that involve your craft, like she said, propelling to the next level. So Jonah, I hope you get to a point where you do like it. So I mean, in conclusion, are there any projects that you are working on?
So so right now I'm working on just like finalizing my company and my structure, because, you know, like we said, you need like a formal base to work from that is very professional.
Right.
It's an individual trying to start up and establish yourself in a place.
Cool.
So that's what I'm mainly focusing on, and of course, creative connect with yours.
Y'all heard that.
Truly. So yeah, but I do have a few things that are coming up that are lined up, so I'm very excited about them, that I will roll out in due time. But I would say that everyone should keep their eyes out.
Totally. Oh my word. Yeah, y'all need to really keep your eyes open. We've got a lot coming in store, not even just for Creative Connect, but even in her company. And when that is solidified, I'm not even sure if they're ready. People are like, I'm not even sure if they're ready, but we've got so much coming up. So stay tuned, guys. I hope you are going through Creative Connect and you're finding the videos useful. I hope that you are interacting with us. Make sure that you drop us an email if you have any questions or any suggestions, or if you even need clarification on some of the things that we talk about under the podcast. We talked about starter kits last month, and this month we've been focusing on reality versus expectations on new creators. When you start the industry, when you start entering the industry, what are the things that you kind of expected, and were these expectations reached? And so we decided that we would look at three kind of aspects of expectations. We looked at personal expectations, we looked at community expectations, and this week we'll be looking at industry expectations, which is interesting. So all of these expectations are categorized in a certain way, and it's amazing how she breaks it down. So I hope you guys are going to go on our YouTube channel. I think the link is in my bio, and just watch those and leave a comment below when you can. Otherwise, apart from that, how can we reach you or your work? Do you have your work somewhere online?
No, I do not have my work purposefully.
Okay.
Because like I said, I'm, like you said, emphasizing on the arts administration and management, you know. So I don't have any of my personal performance work on there. I'm very weird about
even
that.
like a couple videos from like your dance.
I mean, if you can find the videos, they're
oh my gosh,
there.
I googled you and I saw this amazing photo shoot. I don't think I sent it to you. It was by someone called something Vandermeer, something like that. It was like a really creative shoot. I think she.
Oh, when I was
it was so sick. I was like, oh my gosh, what is this? Why is she quiet about it? It was so sick. I was like, oh my gosh.
Many years ago.
Oh my word, it was so sick. I downloaded the pictures. I don't know why I didn't send them to you. I'm like, I'm stealing this concept. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do a shoot like literally. I don't know why I didn't send that to you. Oh my gosh.
I mean, if you want the photos, I can give them to you. I have them. All 300 of them.
I love those. Man, that shoot was dope. Oh my word. I was like, what? And she's just quiet when she sits next to me and she doesn't mention any of this. Really?
It was a very long time ago, actually. To be honest.
I love that shoot. Oh my word. I loved it. But yeah, you don't have your work online.
No, it's there, but I haven't curated it in a specific way.
Okay, cool.
But you can reach me for now at mapsgabang@gmail.com. That's maps with a Z and Gabang, Gabang @gmail.com.
Yeah, and follow her on Instagram. She loves to use Instagram a lot. You can easily catch her on Instagram, so follow her on Instagram.
I'm so good at social media. I'm the best at social media.
Follow her on Instagram. She's not on Facebook because I guess she's so much of it that she's sick of it now. So yeah, just follow her on Instagram. Follow her on Instagram. I think I tagged her at Mapsabang as well. Follow her, DM her, send her a message.
Can I even get DMs?
Or even do a live with her. Like, do a live video with her. Like, just feel free. Like, really do anything. Anyways, that marks the end. That marks the end of our IG live session. Thank you for tuning in, guys. Thank you for interacting, Jono. I see, like, Keloboha also joined, and Samantha Claire joined as well.
I know.
I need to hit her up, man. It's been a minute. But yeah, thank you for joining us, guys. We'll probably do an IG live soon again. About Creative Connect related stuff. As we said, we have stuff coming up, so we'll probably have Maipelo back again. Probably in this exact same format. She probably has to drive all the way to my house again. But yeah, thank you so much for your time, Maipelo.
Thank you.
Alright guys, thank you so much for your time, and we're sorry once again for starting late and doing this late and not doing this yesterday, but we're grateful for interactions, and this will be up on YouTube soon, probably this week. And yeah, make sure to catch our Creative Connect podcast for the week, which is on industry expectations for new creatives. That will be coming out on Thursday. So Thursday evening. So yeah, stay tuned. Bye guys. Oh my gosh.